Hi brides, it's Angie here with Bridal Boss. Today's episode, we're going to talk about active listening versus passive listening. Now, I know a lot of you think about listening, you're listening to me right now, and hopefully you're actively listening, which means you're receiving everything I'm saying, you're listening, you're really thinking about each word that's going into the context of what I'm telling you and communicating with you. So as a bride, when you're talking to your vendors, remember in the last episode, I told you it's important to come in with questions. Already have them written out. Know what you're going in to talk to those vendors about. And listen. So it's important to go and connect with them, build relationship with them. Remember I said communication is key. So when you're going in, don't just start off and be all like, hey, I want to have this kind of wedding and I'm so excited and right now I want this and I want this and I want this and I want that. You know what? It's not going to go over well and it's not going to set a good tone in relationship really with your vendor. When you go in, you want to ask them how they're doing. What's going on? What's happening in their life? And really listen. Don't just say hi, how are you? Because we all say that in passing and it's just another way of saying hi. Really ask them about how they're doing as a person. We're going through very crazy times in our world right now. Things are not stable. Things are nuts. And you really probably do want to know how they're doing. How's COVID affecting their business? What's going on? Listen to them. That might be a negotiation point, not because, you want to get the cheapest wedding, but because they might be hurting for business and you're the first person that's coming to them, that's giving them the business that they need to keep their company alive and going. Ask them what's going on. Ask them how that's affected them. And then really listen. Active listening versus passive listening. Passive listening is you're so excited, you're listening to what's going on, but then you go home and you're like, oh my gosh, what did they say? I totally forgot, because you're so excited about your big day. Active listening might even be you recording them on your phone. It looks funny, but you know what? At the beginning of the meeting, you might tell the vendor, look, I am so excited, I'm so overwhelmed. I want to be sure to get all the details and everything you're saying. So do you mind if I just hit record right here on my phone so I can be sure to get all the notes down and everything that you're telling me? That's okay. This is your day. This is your big day, and we don't want to miss anything. We don't want to miss any details. Active listening is also, asking them about personal situations in their life. What happens if this happens? What happens if this happens? Think about the events that are going on in the day of your wedding. Have all those written out, on your paper or in your phone ahead of time so that you can ask them a lot of those questions. Active listening is also at the end of the conversation, asking them, do you have any questions for me as a bride? Be responsible. Ask them those things about what maybe they might want to know about you. How many people are you inviting? How much are you planning on spending? Remember I said that those things are ideas of, especially how much you want to spend, needs to be at the beginning of your planning and what's going into it, where you're going to be, what time of year you want this to be, what is it going to be outside, is it going to be inside, and how that affects the vendor that you're talking to. You just never know how all of this COVID that's happening right now is going to affect the way that we do weddings. Are you going to have a buffet wedding? Is it even allowed? Ask your vendor that. Ask them what the new, stipulations are on serving people at a wedding. There might be some new guidelines that aren't out there on the internet yet, and they can let you know. Your wedding might be an example of the first post-COVID wedding of what it looks like from here on out, and that might give you some negotiating points on, hey, since my wedding is your first wedding that you're doing after COVID, what are some things we can do, to put out there to help you get more business? Those are just some ideas of passive versus active listening. We want to be active listeners. We don't want to be passive listeners, you guys. So anyway, I hope that helps you today with a lot of your wedding planning, and I look forward to seeing you guys again. Thanks.